Hi guys, welcome to another lab video. This particular lab is called Cookin Cousins, and our scenario is that some cousins have gotten together and they want to do grandma's muffin recipe, and unfortunately all the white powders in the kitchen have gotten mixed up. And so they're going to do some tests on the powders to try to figure out which one is which, so they use the correct amounts of the correct things in the recipe. So our setup here is we have a little tray. And you can see I've pre-done some of these so you didn't have to watch me do it on camera. But we have our 5 powders in cups. We've marked them, we've numbered them 1 through 5. And I've already put the powders for 2 through 5 in there. So I'm just going to add a little bit of each powder of this last powder. And that's how we do it. We just put a little bit. So we have our 5 powders, and now we're going to run some tests on them. So the first thing we're supposed to do is write down, like we do with all of our labs, we're going to write down the appearance of each powder. So we'll start with the first one. They're all mostly white. So this particular powder, you get a little bit on my finger there. It's kind of silky, a little bit grainy, but silky and kind of soft. Okay. Okay, and then powder number 2 is the one that's not quite as bright white. Let me just hold it up in the spoon. That might be the easiest thing to do. And it's also soft, pretty fine. Yeah, a little bit cream colored there. Okay. Now, powder number 3 is little crystals, it looks like. So it's white and it has crystals, and you can really feel the grains when you pick it up. Yeah, I wouldn't want to have that under my feet. That wouldn't be comfortable walking on that. All right, and that's powder 3. Powder 4, let me get a little bit more of it here, like our little baby spoons. Miss Garcia bought those for us. So powder 4 also looks kind of grainy, almost sandy-like. Oh, and I can hear it hitting the paper like it's sand too. Also, that's the biggest problem with this, is we get the little powders everywhere, so you just have to be careful. All right. All right, and then powder number 5 is really soft, really fine, very, very fine, and very, very white. Let me get it back onto the camera. There we go. It's funny because they're all white, but they're not all exactly the same shade. They're different shades of white, which we don't think of white being that way.
Oh, I put the texture here.
Oh, you were supposed to do appearance and texture. So on yours, go ahead and put your texture over here. We won't take time on that.
Yeah, that's too.
You can also do odor. So this one smells, I don't know, what does that smell like? Doesn't smell like anything to me.
No smell.
Yeah, I'd say. This one sort of smells like bread, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Very much so. Powder 3 doesn't smell like anything. Powder 4 also doesn't really smell like anything. And then let's check powder 5. Same thing. I'm not really noticing a smell of any sort there. Okay. So you're going to write grainy, very fine, and whatnot in this column, better than we did.
We can do that.
Yeah, with a little arrow. And that's what you do when you have issues like that.
Crystal would be.
That's kind of the texture, yeah. Okay. Now we're going to predict what we think these are. I'm not writing down any predictions because I know what they are, but you're going to predict what they are based on what you know about the kitchen. There's lots of white powders in the kitchen, more than just these 5. So write down what you think they are. And then the next column is reaction to heat. That's going to actually be day 2, so there'll be a separate video for that. So we're going to fill in the reaction to water. So we have a dropper bottle here that has some water in it, and I'm going to put just a couple drops of water in the first well of each, and we're going to see how it reacts and write down what happens. So this is powder 1. I'm putting 3 drops of water in, dissolving a little bit. I think it's dissolving a little bit.
Kind of absorbing it.
Yeah, whatever the powder is, the water is being absorbed into it.
Okay.
Number 2.
Huh.
The water sort of rolled off to the
Did my
side.
head get in the way? I'm sorry.
I don't know, but the water kind of rolled off to the
It
side.
just sort of rolls around.
Yeah, the water's rolling off of it. That's interesting. We think powders will always absorb, but that one, looks like maybe it's trying to, but it's still kind of sitting on top. Okay, number 3. Oh, that dissolved right away.
Wow.
Like went clear almost, like it wasn't even there. Wow, that's interesting.
Quickly.
Like almost the second the water hit it, it was gone.
Yeah.
All right, let's try number 4.
Wow.
It's absorbing
It
it.
absorbed it, but it didn't like turn to a liquid or anything. Okay, so
And that might be
absorbed.
the ratio of water, but okay. And then this is the last one. That one seemed to dissolve where it hit it, but the powder's kind of made a wall around it. I've almost got a well of water in there. That's kind of funny looking. Okay. Yeah, it dissolved where it touched it, but the rest of it is not like falling into it or anything. It's just sort of sitting there. That's interesting. Structure in the powders. All right, so my second test is vinegar. We've seen from some of our labs before that vinegar does tend to react with some substances, so let's see what happens here. Powder number 1. Oh, fizzing like crazy.
Wow.
Look at that. Number 2. It rolled off of it again.
Rolled off.
Whatever number 2 is, it doesn't appear to be all that fond of liquid. Number 3. That's dissolving again.
Dissolving quickly again.
Interesting.
And it's liquidy too.
Very liquidy. Number 4. Kind of the same thing as the water. It's absorbing it, but it's just sort of sitting there. It's not really doing anything.
Yeah, no reaction, but still, all the little particles are wet.
Yeah, no, let's try this last one. Same thing as before. It dissolves where it's hitting.
Oh, look, though.
It's starting to
Yeah, it's
maybe.
kind of moving around where it is. Dissolved.
And we got to a certain point, and then it kind of stopped moving. So that's interesting.
My handwriting's not the neatest because I like to turn my pages sideways.
And she's trying to hold it upright so you guys can see it. And her handwriting, and even that way, is still better than mine. So be happy for it. All right, our last and final test is we're going to put iodine on it. You know, we use this in one of our other labs, so we'll see what sort of reactions we get here. So powder 1. Well,
It's absorbing.
it's absorbing it, but it's not really changing color. It's still kind of red.
Stayed red.
Yeah. It really just kind of soaked right in, so it absorbed. It's a great word, absorb.
Yeah.
Means to soak up. All right, let's try this one.
Whoa.
Whoa, that is dark, dark, dark.
almost instantly.
The second it touched, it started to turn really black.
So it's black, but look, it's not absorbing.
It's black, but it's popped. It's hovering on top again, just like it rolled off before. That is really fascinating.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if you had like a toothpick to stir it, if it would.
What would happen? Yeah. All right, and this is number 3.
Wow. It's gonna.
It's
Absorb
absorbing
all
all of it. It looks like.
But is it turning liquid? No.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
it
it
is.
is.
It is.
Yeah, dissolved.
So it's doing the same thing as the others. It's dissolving. It was a little bit slower to dissolve than the first 2.
Color stayed the same.
Yeah, looks like iodine. Interesting.
Okay.
All right, and powder 4. Well, it's soaked in,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just kind of sitting on it.
So this one is a little more liquidy than this one. This one's absorbed completely. This one's absorbed, but
It's not
What do you want me to
dissolving. It's
say?
like it's absorbed but didn't dissolve.
okay, I'm going to put liquidy on that other one because there's just a little bit of difference.
Yeah,
Okay, absorbed.
definitely a difference between those 2. I hope you can see that on the camera. Try to get everything lined up. Okay.
Okay.
All right, and then the last one.
Wow.
Well, that's dissolving.
Oh, yeah.
Like quick, it's sucking it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So
Is there a tiny change in color? No, it's just,
it's still red.
it's pulled up there.
Yeah, this one looks a little bit lighter, I think, because there's so much white. You know how when you add white to anything, it kind of lightens up.
Yeah.
Let's say this one looks a tiny bit brown compared to the others now that we're looking at all of them.
Lighter.
Yeah, I'd say 1 and 4 got a little bit lighter. 3 and 5 seemed to stay kind of dark, and then of course 2 went black. Black.
So sometimes you have to sort of wait for a reaction.
Yeah, it takes time on some reactions, that's for sure.
Okay.
It's fun when they happen right away,
This
but they
one
don't
almost
always.
looks more red than normal. But
Yeah.
I'll be all right.
Okay, so that's day 1. We'll be back with part 2 and day 2 tomorrow. And then after that, we will give you the information to figure out what the substances actually were. And then you'll have one question at the bottom that you'll need to answer. So thanks for joining us today. And if you have said supplies at home and your parents give you permission, feel free to do this yourself.